We're all gonna die.
Hello, everyone.
This is the end. This is the end
Hugo.
of it. Jake.
And that's Jake. And this is the Bible Reloaded, and we're here for a very special edition of the Bible Reloaded. We're coming to you live on election 2016 night.
From Ground Zero, which is the world.
Yeah, we're going to see what's happening. The election's been going for a while. I have my Moscato and my Harold Penisman mug. I'm ready.
You have Moscato?
I have Moscato, yeah.
What about?
I went to Olive Garden the other day, and the waiter suggested this, and it's very good. So, I like this now.
Strange.
Anyway,
I still can't see our live stream, so I don't know where it's located. But so that's weird. But oh, there it goes. It's fine. We're good.
Cool.
Don't worry about it. It was making sure it had plenty of time, to warm up. It was the foreplay situation, at least on my part. Anyways, so rundown of the electorate map. By the way, if you have any questions, whether they're political or otherwise, we will answer them. So this is about having fun in the wake of absolute disaster.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, let's run down what we have right now. And there's actually just been some updates, actually. Let's take a look at this. States are just coming in right now, by the way. They're staggered depending on where you are because of time zones and just different state rules. So
Indeed.
Right now, states like Michigan are going to start coming in. Ohio just started coming in a little bit ago.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I have it on my tablet. But right now, we know for a fact Donald Trump has Kentucky and Indiana. No shock there.
Oklahoma, West Virginia. He's also favored in and Indiana, which is barely a state, so I almost didn't cover it. Ohio actually looks like Hillary is in the lead right now, which is super weird. Ohio and Florida has Hillary in the lead, which means it may be the end of the world just much later than it would have been. In my opinion.
Ohio just started reporting. I'm going to assume, again, I'm not a political analyst. I tell dick jokes for a living and drink fruity wine.
It might be too early to call a situation.
I think it's too early. I think the districts they're picking up right now
they almost have 500,000 each. I mean, it's not like nothing. They're at 40.
Oh, I know.
4,600,000 or 4,600,000.
All the polls had her down for like the past couple of weeks there. If she wins it, great. Oh, by the way, total bias. I'm not like a huge Hillary fan, but I hate Donald Trump, so I really want him to lose. If you don't like that, that's fine. That's how elections work.
Now, I will say, if both of them die, like right now, and there's polls still open, Mountain Time and West, vote Bernie or me. I'm not available. 2024, Jake and Hugo. Woo! Actually,
terrible.
You won't be legally able to be my vice president at that point. Wow, that's actually way too many people. I can't read that. Anyways, do you want to answer some?
Yeah, send questions to Jake at Bible Reloaded on Twitter if you have them. Just questions, because the live stream is going very fast. We have a lot more people watching than I expected, if I'm being totally honest with you guys.
We undersold ourselves, Hughes.
Yeah, but right now, let's see. Florida with quite a bit of the vote coming in. It looks like she might be getting it. I know I already mentioned that, but it's still holding strong. That's pretty good. Unless you want Trump to win, then that's bad news because he needs Florida, or if he loses Florida, he needs Michigan and Pennsylvania to flip to have a path to 270 electoral votes.
Yeah, Nevada was a huge state as well, but it's only worth 6.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. It's actually, I mean, if you're a liberal in general, it's probably looking good, because consider this. Usually the general elections go with the House and the Senate as well. So whether you like Hillary Clinton or not, because I know a lot of Bernie supporters, a lot of them were butthurt about how that went down. You should be more upset at Debbie Wasserman, in my humble opinion. But
yeah, you can be mad at both.
But the more liberal Congress people, I think, is good for people like us, because we're non-religious. We prefer secularism. Most of us, I think, lean socially liberal, I would assume. So that's kind of the thing. If I agree with most people, these two candidates, not great. A lot of people are using like the turd sandwich and stuff, but like I really like bread, so it's probably not even that good. It's probably like turd chili. One of them ate a taco bowl, and the other one ate I don't know, the youths of America.
The worst part about turd chili is I think it would genuinely take like 2 to 3 bites before you figure out what's going on.
Right. I feel like, at first you're like, I don't know, is this turd chili? I better take another bite. I do taste it's a little peppery. And chili already has corn in it, depending on how you make it, so it's fine. But on the bright side, if Hillary does win, that usually means liberal other things. And frankly, if she's only here for 4 years, that's fine with me. But that's long enough to put a Supreme Court justice in that doesn't want to ban abortion.
Yeah. So we just got some updates. Let me lay this down for you guys. Here's how the race stands right now. Trump has Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi, Oklahoma, all pretty typically red states. Clinton wins Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and of course Washington, D.C. Rhode Island, or wait, no, I was thinking of something else actually. I was thinking of New Hampshire. My B. Nope, still just Rhode Island. New Hampshire, still not called yet, I don't think.
She only leads by 80,000 in Florida, so if you're a Trump supporter, there's hope for you. I'm gonna try to throw you guys a bone every once in a while. It may not happen as the night continues on. I might just get too excited. Of course, this is basically playing out exactly like we thought so far, though. I think the leads in Ohio and Florida for Hillary starting out are the only surprises, really, right now.
That is weird. Right now, with 24% of the vote coming in, as far as I can see, Ohio has Clinton 53 to Trump's 43, which I gotta assume is going to tighten considerably. And I'm of the opinion it's going to flip to Trump because none of the polling showed her ahead, like at all. That would be insane if she took that back, and then the night's pretty much over early, unless something crazy happens.
Florida's the big one though. He could lose Ohio and still make it up in places like Colorado and Florida. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean...
Yeah. Right now, another interesting, North Carolina, 49% of the vote coming in, Clinton 52 to Trump 44. So it's looking like she's going to win that too, which is another state. Trump had an uphill battle going into this because of how the electoral map looks this year. So he really needed to win most of the swing states. And so far... it's not looking great for him. Now, don't get me wrong, there can always be surprises. It depends on what districts are already reporting. But typically what happens is the rural districts, which lean more Republican, report first because there's fewer votes to report. And as the state goes on, it gets a little bit more Democratic because then bigger cities get to go. I mean, even Georgia, usually that's pretty solid red. That's been changing it demographically. I would assume in the next 8 years, it's probably going to be more of a swing state.
Atlanta itself is very minority heavy. I was going to say ridden, and that sounded like a pestilence. So I backed off of it and went heavy.
Nothing but minorities in the Coke factory.
Goddamn minorities. Also, but if Trump wins, I hope he can make a deal with Paula Deen to fly everyone down to her restaurant for one Sunday out of the year to eat there because it's just delicious. If you've never had a hoe cake, it'll make you a Republican for just a little bit.
Are you Paula Deen food? I gotta assume racism is terrible, but it's got to be the secret ingredient somewhere. I'm telling you, I don't like Trump, but if he were to win, food would get like at least 50% more delicious across the board under his regime. That's all.
Well, because it would be more rare. Anyways, that was a joke. Calm down. Anyways, so why don't we answer one of the Twitter questions that came through? Sure. And I got some of these beforehand, so please, if I haven't answered your question, just keep trying on Twitter. It's fine. Dildo asks us, it's with a Y, though. DYLDO. On a serious note, thoughts on people claiming a third-party vote is wrong or a waste? Here's my opinion on this. In a general election for the specific office of the presidency, right now, it is a waste of your vote. Unless you're one of those people that are like, well, if they get 5% of the vote in the general election, they get funding from Congress and blah, 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 and it's more of a stepping stone. That's fine, but these two third-party candidates are not going to get 5%. There's not. Gary has the best chance, and he's a fucking lunatic. He's stupid, so don't do that. I mean, you've already done it at this point, most likely, so it doesn't matter what I say. But as far as the down ticket, I personally voted for Hillary. Fuck you. I voted for Hillary, and then I voted down ticket many Greens and many Libertarians, depending on their position. For instance, for judges, I voted Libertarian if I had a choice. For people like college treasurers or whatever, I voted Green if I had that choice. That makes sense. kind of.
I get what you're
like
saying. Personally, this is just me this year, which I don't normally do this. I normally skip a lot of stuff, but I'm really mad at Donald Trump and the Republican Party this year for what they've become, and I need to send them a message. So personally, I voted down to Ticket Democrat, which I hate when people do that. I hate it.
I've never done that ever.
I know. I hate partisanship like that. I really do. But
I
this
voted
year,
for a Republican sheriff. No, actually, he was a Republican sheriff. In our county Federspiel, because I maintained residency in Michigan specifically for this election, meaning I have to pay higher taxes than I would if I changed residency to Boise, where I live now. But it's worth it, god damn it, because the electorate votes here are garbage. Anyways, he used to be a Republican and now he's a Democrat.
Yeah, okay. Another new state coming in. Trump wins Mississippi. Are you shocked? Are you shocked about that one?
How does hair do in Mississippi?
Oh God, hold
Landslide?
on.
Landslide. People are saying they like the stubble. I think it too. Yeah, you. I think. It adds more shading to your face, which makes it look like you have texture instead of just this porcelain doll person.
Oh, that's good. I'm doing No Shave November, everyone, in case you didn't know that. That's why, because everyone was asking me to, because I have such a baby face. I'm 8 days in, and this is what we got. So multiply this by a little.
Mine in this lighting is very red. What's going on with that? Anyways, I've always had this. This is where my jaw ends. It looks weird. I need a new jaw. Anyways, someone apologized. They voted in Kansas, but they're like, it's probably a Trump. Holy shit, she's leading in Texas.
Oh, come on. That's no.
Hold on. It's probably not. Okay, it's a very slim margin. It's about 2,000 votes.
Well,
but still, the fact that you're 500,000 in and she's up, that's very surprising for Texas.
It'd be amazing. The thing about
Texas, this is the worst blowout in a long time, and I hope
that'd be hilarious. It would teach. The thing about Republicans, I genuinely dislike the Republican Party and the state it is right now, but I also don't like the Democratic Party either. I would love for two viable parties that I could decide between, and because a one-party system, as bad as two parties is, a one-party system that's the only one viable at the national level is terrible.
They keep moving further middle as well, which I'm centrist in a lot of different things, but I'm pretty fucking liberal in general, as most of us tend to be. It's I don't want one party either. I really hope that the Republicans move middle and some middle Democrat, like even people like Hillary, move into the Republican Party, and then the Democrats move left, and then you can have the far right Tea Party, because people are all those things. And as much as I disagree with the far right, I'd like them to have, representation if they're going to still be that, in the House and Senate and stuff. Right. So I assume the Republicans and Democrats would win more often than the Tea Party, but still. Let me ask another question real quick.
Real quick before you do that, just because this is my home state, I'm interested in this one. Michigan, right now, only very little of the vote coming in, but there was a lot of talk this election about Michigan becoming a swing state. And actually, my dad, who I talk politics with a lot, believes that Michigan will go red this year because there are changing demographics and there's far less union, because this was a union red or blue state, which is, it wasn't like people were all around like, oh, we love gays. It's a lot of people who've been in unions.
That's actually a valid argument.
Yeah, it's people who've been in unions for years, and now that we're a right to work state, which there's a lot of union busting going on and fewer people work for GM, there's less incentive for people to vote Democrat, especially in this election where Donald Trump has positioned himself as the anti-free trade candidate, which a lot of people who work in factories, whether or not you feel this way about free trade, they think it damages their career prospects. I think that's a little short-sighted, and overall free trade, if done correctly, is better for everyone overall.
Hold on. This is boring. Add a dick joke. Quick.
Donald Trump's dick is probably orange like his face.
Is it because he uses the same?
It's got to be. What the fuck is up with that?
On his face, that he does on his dick, the tan stuff.
Anyway, right now Michigan is up Hillary slightly. There's less than 1% coming in, but it's just an indication of where things might be going. She is at 50 to 45, which is pretty much right in line with where the polls were. They had her up about 5 in the most recent.
Not a lot of people realize how diverse Michigan actually is.
There's a lot of college towns, so it's college.
It's got a lot of college towns, but because of the college towns, you have people from all over the world, especially in Michigan, like Michigan University, not the state, of course. But I mean, there's a lot of like Black communities. There's Hispanic communities for the seasonal work, and they're not all illegal immigrants. Some of them just move around because there's good farming up there. And then some people just end up having families and then just branches out. So there's actually there's this little town down the road from where Hugo and I used to live called Merrill, that is actually like really high population, just a little town. It's got tons of Hispanic voters in it. So it's actually a very interesting state, and that's why it's so purple almost all the time, although it's been leaning blue recently. Not a lot of people know about that. Anyways, question from Ball of Self-Hatred. What do you fear most about the policies of each candidate? This is a good question. And because we've been giving Hillary a blowjob, I assume she has a penis under the pantsuit. This is all a ruse.
She's like, you think you voted for the first woman president? Surprise, motherfuckers. End of
blow, bigger than Lyndon's.
End of the crying game twist.
Nice. The policy is about each candidate that I fear the most. Hillary, a lot of people are worried about the no-fly zone thing.
Oh,
now,
Syria. Yeah.
The Syria.
I feel that.
I get it. I totally get it. But when asked about it, she did say that she would talk to Russia about it, and it would kind of be a Russia-U.S. thing. But how often has that ever worked? So I don't know if she's actually going to go through with it, but that's her idea right now. I imagine if she got into office and a bunch of generals were like, this is going to create war, her cabinet would probably buck against that.
Yeah,
I think the generals always want war. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. So that's the one I think everyone's most worried about. A lot of people voted for Trump based on that one policy, which I think is silly as fuck because it's a chance. Donald has a chance to be in bed with Russia. That's not cool. I don't know if I necessarily think he is, but it's kind of sketchy. So, and also just, can you imagine, okay, say Russia shoots at a ship of the U.S., and we get this sort of Cuban Missile Crisis situation. Who would you rather have in that room talking to Putin about possible nuclear war? Would it rather be Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? And this comes to my most feared policy of Donald Trump is his foreign policy. He's just bad at it. I don't want him in that room. I don't want anyone in that room. Maybe both of them lead us to nuclear war. Who fucking knows? But I just know that I think if it came to negotiation, Hillary would be better at it. And I assume we would take diplomatic routes in the event. We're not just going to go press the button. That doesn't seem to make any sense. So I don't think she's hawkish, but so is he. He spent the first half of his campaign hawkish. He's bombed the hell out of them. It was all anti-ISIS, which I agree. I'm anti-ISIS, but he's talking a full-scale ground war half the time. And there's people in his camp that want him to literally nuke the Middle East. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, my issues with the candidates, first I'll do Trump, then I'll do Hillary, because again, you're right, we were sucking her dick. I'll talk about Hillary. But first of all, Trump, what I don't like about Trump is I think he's an idiot. I think he's a very lucky person who's surrounded.
Policy.
Okay, I'm going to get into policy, but this is part of policy. And beyond that, I don't think as a person he knows how to take advice and is ever thinking he's in the wrong. For instance, he had talked early in his campaign, I think this was during the primaries, about how he wanted to torture even if it doesn't work, which means he wanted to take ISIS people or even suspected ISIS people and torture them regardless of the effect, just as a deterrent, which is wrong. Torture in and of itself is against the Geneva Convention, which he is against, by the way, which is another policy thing I disagree with. And even if you people who out there are like, yeah, fuck them, torture, whatever. Okay, you will realize that under Bush, when we were doing the torture programs, and honestly, we probably still are, it's just more secret, there were people who were sent to Guantanamo Bay without a trial who it turned out they were innocent. So think about that. You run the risk of torturing innocent people. And beyond that, he also mentioned early in his campaign about how he wanted to, in order to try and deter people from joining ISIS, bomb their families. Bombing the families of people who join ISIS. So let's say you're a dipshit teenager in the Middle East and you decide you want a cause and you think ISIS is the cause you want to join. You run away from home, you leave your family back at home doing whatever the fuck they do. All of a sudden, one day, President Trump and his drone, which is probably shaped like an orange dick, comes down and fucking blows you up because you're related to a guy in ISIS. That's That's like Nazi level bullshit. I know. Oh, you're going to call him a Nazi? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Donald Trump is Hitler. I'm saying killing innocent civilians on purpose is Nazi level shit. It just
I would
is.
rather 1,000,000 times accidentally kill civilians rather than 500,000 times kill them on purpose.
Yeah, and you know,
the
you can
intent
talk about
behind it is a huge deal to me.
Oh, it matters. It matters totally. I also disagree. He's talked about, this is an economic thing. He's talked about, he wants to basically default on U.S. debt because he's a businessman and he thinks he can stiff people and renegotiate because that's how he's done his business his entire life. He's thinking he's going to go to China or whoever owns U.S. debt and say, okay, well, we owe you $1 trillion. We're not going to pay you that much. How about $300 billion instead, or something like that? Now, I don't know if you guys know how national debt works, but a large chunk of it is owned in government bonds, and government bonds are basically an investment in the future of the country. Now, if we default on debt, regardless of who it's with, a big debt like that, the global trade is done in the dollar. Confidence in the US would drop so much, and currency prices are very much built on stability. The dollar would plummet. There would be a worldwide economic depression if you would default on U.S. debt like that in such an idiotic way. You can't do it. So not only will the U.S. be hurting, it'll hurt the entire world, and the dollar will probably be supplanted by either the euro or the pound, although I don't know after Brexit, or even the yen. So economically, he doesn't know what he's talking about. As a businessman, maybe he can run a hotel, but even then, he's gone bankrupt like 6 times, so he's not even really that good at that. He doesn't know how economics works on the global federal scale. It's a different economy than running a business and getting a loan from a bank. It's different.
Gotta cut you off, Hugo. Update. Florida has swung a little bit. It's like 20,000 votes. Not even. It's like 14,000 votes for Trump right now. But Hillary is winning in Michigan, of course. Less than 150,000 people. Oh, no. Yeah, less than 150,000 people have voted, or just about 150,000 people voted, or have been counted. Winning in New Hampshire, of course. North Carolina, she is actually up 200,000 or 150,000 so far. Winning in Ohio for a little bit.
Right now, 30%.
About 120,000. In Texas, she's up 50,000, and that's about 1 million people, or 2 million people have voted so far, or been counted. So yeah, these are actually
that is shocking to me.
Yeah,
that is shocking. Holy crap, you're not kidding. Hold on, let me check right now to see which counties and stuff in Texas they're counting right now. They have Fort Worth in there, which is a city. San Antonio, Houston and San Antonio are in. That's why.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a sign. Those are just the big cities are going in first, which is weird. Normally, the rural areas come in first. I don't know.
Strange.
But yeah,
well, a lot of them. They like my buddy Lou. He voted like last week. So, so it's just in the big places. So okay, now tell us what you don't like about Hillary.
Oh, what I don't like about Hillary.
Correct.
The Syria thing. I think there's conflicts of interest with the money she's gotten from her organization, the Clinton Foundation, for sure. Money taken from Saudi Arabia. But the thing that makes me say, okay, I'll vote for her anyway, is that, at least in her mind, I think she thinks she's taking the money from bad people and doing good things with it. So that's why I think she's rationalizing it. I don't think she's thinking, I'm taking money from Saudi Arabia. I just think it's a misguided.
She knows she's doing something shitty, but she thinks it's noble. I buy that with Clinton. I don't know how true that is, but the way she acts about her legacy and shit, I feel like that's a reasonable conclusion to come to. I don't know if you'd ever get a real answer for her on that question, but yeah.
Let's see. You have any more questions?
I have tons of questions. Do you want more?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Oh, okay. Kentaro Shidaris. What do you guys think about people saying that voting for a third party? No, never mind. I didn't read that all the way through. I thought that said something else. How deep? This is from Reese K. How deep do I dig for my nuclear fallout shelter if Hillary wins? Here's the deal. If Hillary wins, you dig your fallout shelter deeper than when Trump did, but only because I feel like it'll take longer to
You'll have more time to prepare. You'll have more time. To
so just like if Trump wins, dig as fast as you can, and when you hear the sirens, just get in. Just get going.
I can't believe. Did you hear that story about that general or something? I forget who it was. Again, take this with a huge grain of salt because this was hearsay. That apparently during some briefing or something, Donald Trump kept asking why we can't use nuclear weapons. Apparently, he doesn't understand like mutually assured destruction or game theory at all in regard to nuclear weapons, which I'm not shocked by. But like, you want to be the guy in charge of that, so you should probably know. Just saying.
Why are Jake's eyes so beautiful? Genetics. And light.
Someone asked us what sites we're looking at. I'll give you just a rundown. I'm
just looking at Google, which is an aggregate right now. Google's front page.
I'm looking at a bunch of things. Reddit live stream, just letting me know pertinent news. For instance, Trump just won Alabama, the swing state of Alabama. And I'm also looking at the New York Times live map. I'm sure there are other resources out there, though, too. Go ahead and if you guys have any good sources, please go ahead and let us know, and we'll check those out as well. But these just happen to be the ones I've been looking at all night anyway, and will continue to long after the live stream is done. So,
yeah, Florida's still very close. It's gonna be one of those bullshit elections again, isn't it?
Oh man, if it's like 2000, I really don't want to split between the popular and electoral votes. I don't have it in me to have this election go on for another 2 fucking weeks while those two figure that shit out.
Yeah, the popular vote's real close too. It's about 1 million in difference, but right now it's just the red states are up right now. So, oh no, that's wrong. More questions. Do you think that if most of us start voting third party, then eventually we'll bust two party? If most of us voted third party, yeah, but no, most of us won't vote third party.
Like I was just talking about game theory. It's a game theory thing. It's either everyone commits or the people who vote for third party get screwed, and nobody wants to be those people who get screwed. And I can understand that. Personally, right now, I don't think the third party candidates are good enough to warrant the presidency in the first place. This is why you need to start, like Jake said at the beginning, voting third party that you like more locally. And that's where people like the Clintons, the Bushes, these families come from. It's not just one day they showed up and said, I want to be president, although
right.
Donald Trump did. Generally, they're people who've come out of,
to be fair, he was still from an elite class and had national notoriety.
Sure. I'm just saying it's a process. Generally, you start out at lower levels, local elections, then maybe representation in Congress or being the governor somewhere, and then you build up your reputation. And
right.
The people
Obama actually is very interesting because he came kind of out of nowhere. There was just a lot of support. He did a Bernie, although Bernie has been in the Senate forever, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like trying to build a house roof first. Don't do that if you want third party candidates in.
Yeah, like
want
the people
in the general
right now.
election, vote for other shit. Vote in your non-general elections. You have tons of elections all the time.
Every 2 years, it's Democrats show up, or at least progressives, whatever you want to call it, if you don't want to be partisan. They show up on election years for the president, but man, those midterms, they just get killed. They get killed because they do not show up to vote for Congress. It's ridiculous, and they need to do it. Even if they if Democrats take the Senate tonight, which I hope so for Supreme Court nomination reasons, they're going to lose.
It looks like they're going to right now. By the way, they're up 40-35.
Okay.
And they only need 11. But I mean, the House is basically the opposite.
Obviously, that's a gerrymandering issue, though. That was never going to happen. I think they said Clinton would need to win the popular vote roughly by double-digit margins to even have a shot at taking the House.
Like percentage?
Yeah, but that's again, it's a gerrymandering thing. That's why the Senate race is more competitive. But I'm so sick of the Senate right now. They've said, and this is why I want them to lose, some of the people in the Senate have said, and if you don't know, they've been holding up Obama's nomination for the Supreme Court since Scalia died, and their reasoning was, well, it's really close to the election. This was like at the beginning of the year, by the way. It wasn't like a month ago. I could get if it was a month ago. It was like 7 or 8 months ago. They're like, we want the voters to get to decide who they want to pick the Supreme Court justice. Yeah, they did. In 2012, they picked Obama, you dicks. Do your job. And Obama even picked a pretty centrist judge.
Yeah. He's actually one I wouldn't necessarily want personally, but that's who he went. He tried really hard for a bipartisan Supreme Court justice. Like that was the goal with that pick. It didn't work out. So I get
this is the thing.
Honestly, this stonewalling could lead to a more liberal Supreme Court justice.
That'd be hilarious. I'd be super happy about it. And they've said if Hillary gets elected and they maintain the Senate, they're going to try and block her for 4 years. A couple of people have said that. That's unprecedented.
I just don't understand how you can say, "Oh, I'm for this country," and then not run the fucking country. Just make deals. It's okay. It's fine. That's the idea, is to make deals with each other. Not one gets a win and one loses. It's we both kind of win, we both kind of lose, and we move forward and we chip away. And over time, the zeitgeist of the country will force us into these different decisions, like gay marriage. You see a lot of Republicans coming around on that shit, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care who marries you. Fuck it. Except Rick Santorum's over there just hate fapping to butt fucking.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so sick of the partisanship. And I'm not. This is the thing. The thing about Republicans is, for some reason, they are just so against compromise. It's insanity. That's one of the, actually, I would consider weaknesses of the current Democrats, is they're too willing to bend over backwards to get whatever the Republicans want. You know what I mean?
A lot of people in D.C. really like Clinton, though. So what happens is, if Trump wins, the Democrats are going to do the same thing. And I don't want them to do that either. I don't want gridlock from either side.
Ooh, this is real close. As of 3 minutes ago, 91% of the vote is now counted in Florida. 48.
Yeah, but we're not getting the numbers in Florida yet, though.
48.8% Trump, 48.1% Clinton. This is going to determine if people are staying up until 10 o'clock tonight or if they're staying up till 2 in the morning.
So, I know, right? Like,
come on, Florida, just give us this one. Just this one. Like next 4 years, be a dick. I don't care. Do your Florida man shit, but.
Like, of course, Florida would draw it out even longer. We all have to fucking deal with this. Anyways, another question. Let's move on to another question. Auntie Dot asks us, what questions did you guys get to vote on, like on the ballot? What odd political parties were on your ballots as other political parties? What was the one? There was a dude down the ballot, and I cannot remember for the life of me what he was, but was he a transhumanist?
Yeah,
some weird stuff on the Michigan ballot. It was weird. I didn't notice many props though.
I had no propositions on mine whatsoever. Right. There was supposed to be legal marijuana, recreational this year, but our state's Supreme Court or Senate or something shot it down for some reason, which is a bummer. But
legal marijuana. By the way, they do have medical marijuana in Michigan, if you are unaware. But it depends on what you ask for. I know some people with a green card that do it. Another question. Bronson asked, how soon after #election night should I delete my Trump memes? Some are quite dank, I assure you.
Save those memes. Someday there's going to be a meme history museum, and you will donate them, and they will be cherished by generations to come. All those Pepes are going to be super rare, bro. After Trump loses, everyone's going to dump their cash. I'm just saying.
We're going to go back to the gold standard? I don't understand. Oh, cash. I see. CACHE. Yeah. I was like, they're going to fuck the economy.
No, Pepes are the currency of the future. Mark my words. The future is super dank, by the way.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Dank? Super dank.
Oh, all right. Another question. Hapless Pete asked, has the alt-right circumvented the GOP and permanently changed the political landscape of the USA? That's an interesting question, because it almost happened with the alt-left with the Bernies, which is basically deep left. I just don't think enough people are that far left, clearly, to have voted him in. But he was a nice person, I think. I think a lot of us trust Bernie Sanders. I feel like we don't feel like he's terribly corrupt. I guarantee already there's people in the comments like, he's a fucking shill. He has 17 retirement homes. It's like he was going to lose, so he's trying to get people to vote for Hillary now because he doesn't want Trump, who's basically the opposite of Bernie. But is the alt-right? So I don't know if the alt-right is going to be the same thing, because usually these kinds of, like, the Tea Party wasn't even a thing this year. Really?
I think the alt-right is sort of a metamorphosis of the Tea Party after that died down, incorporating the young internet culture.
It's not as religious.
Right. It dropped that. I think because of the younger people coming in, and you have people like Milo Yiannopoulos, who's like the gay for Trump guy. You have these other demographics coming into this right wing and changing it. And I do think over time, as the boomers die out, this is the future of the GOP unless something changes. And that's scary.
I don't think it's going to be cult of personality type people. I think it's going to be. I think we're going to settle in because this is riding off of this. Who we thought were crazy people with the Tea Party, like the Cruzes and the Santorums of the world. And I think you're going to see a shift towards like conservative libertarian. And I don't necessarily think they're going to be crazy people. Maybe it's just hopeful thinking, but I see a lot of people, like a lot of conservatives are like, man, I got to vote for Clinton this year. Just because it's
you're
like
right.
Insanity.
I'm not super confident that it's going to go the way you predict. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, but we'll see.
It's already gotten worse.
I think it'll get even worser, as a kindergartner would say.
Man, that fucking Florida is still super close.
Let's see. It's at 48-49. I assume there's some decimal points there that I can't see.
Texas keeps wobbling, too. It's weird.
That's pretty neat.
It's super weird, though. 20,000. 20,000.
Man, wouldn't it be glorious if she did take Texas just as such a weird...
Texas, like, I don't know what to do with myself if she takes Texas. Like, who are we going to make fun of now? Louisiana?
Yeah, you're not wrong, I guess.
Right. I don't know. Let's go to some live questions. Let's see what's going on. Ooh, wow. We are being watched along with CNN and MSNBC and other stuff. Why would someone vote Trump? Okay, so I'm not a Trump supporter, but I will explain the mindset to you. Number one, and most commonly, you vote red ticket anyways. You're a douchebag. Don't talk to me. Number two, you're jaded by the thing, and you think he's anti-establishment when he's been part of the New York establishment for years, like 40. So I don't understand why you think he's anti-establishment. There's other people that are like anti-PC, which I actually get, although that's a terrible fucking... It's a weird place to plant your flag. The guy who says he wants to grab pussies is like, yeah, anti-PC. It's like Bill Maher's anti-PC.
Right, but that's what Trump isn't actually anti-PC. He tries to silence people all the time when they're talking about him bad, and that's just the right-wing version of the PC language police. He sued Bill Maher over a joke. Like that's the thing. He doesn't. It's not being anti-PC. It's about being anti-PC about the things that you like, but when other people say things bad about you, you still got to shut them down. He said he wants to open up libel laws and have laws more like that of the UK or Canada, in which leaves space open for hate speech laws, which basically would mean the government gets to tell you what you can and can't say and punish you for saying that. For instance, there are people who are very vocal in certain countries about being against Syrian refugees. I don't totally agree with you on that, but I believe you have the right to say that. Some people in certain countries have gotten into trouble for on social media saying they don't like the refugee situation. And I don't know exactly how they said it. It may have been very mean and vulgar, but that's the thing. I don't care. That's your right to have an opinion. It can be a shitty opinion that I disagree with, but you have the right to have it. And Donald Trump doesn't feel that way. Donald Trump wants to be told he's so great all the time. And if the press says otherwise, he's going to sue him by the pussy.
For someone that's anti-PC, sure is sensitive as fuck.
Yeah, he's a little bitch.
Yeah, I don't... Come on, Donald, take a joke. Like, he gets butthurt about all sorts of stuff. It's super weird.
Yeah, someone asked me a question. My girlfriend is half Latino, like someone said in the question. How does she feel about Trump? Oh, she hates Trump. She hates Trump a lot. No, she voted today, too.
Yeah. Do you think Trump can... This is from Ashley. Do you think Trump can snag Florida? It's looking close. I do.
Oh, absolutely. At this point, it could really go either way.
Cubans vote Republican.
Yeah.
And it depends on their stance on Cuba. But, like, if you're Cuban, he's anti-immigration. That ain't making no sense to me. It doesn't...
Yeah, see, he's up by, like, a whole percentage point right now.
It could be.
Wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me.
I assumed he was going to get Florida coming in. which is why we were so shocked that she had been winning for a little bit. Is she up in Mississippi? Did you just? No, wait a second. Wait a goddamn second. She is up in Mississippi. Oh, but it's never mind. It's
early.
No. It's super early. You had called it earlier, so I assumed there was more votes than 600 votes. No, we're good. Never mind. I was like, oh god, it's over.
She's still up in Ohio by a couple percentage points.
Hooray! Anyways,
if she loses Florida but gets Ohio, that's like the opposite of what I expected tonight. So that'd be interesting. There'd be some serious polling flaws there if she wins Ohio but loses Florida. There's going to be, I think, as much as I'm not a person who thinks like polls are rigged or whatever, but I do think there's so much uncertainty this cycle that there are going to be some after this election, people looking at their models and trying to see what went right and what went wrong. And I think there's going to be more wrong than right. So that'll be interesting. Nate Silver, whom I respect very much for his model, not necessarily his punditry. For instance, his numbers in the primaries said Trump was going to win, but he refused to accept that. And so he said he didn't think Trump was going to win. But when he deals with numbers, I do think he does a pretty good job. But I don't know. I don't think he'll be as accurate tonight as he has been the last two elections. Of the last two elections, 50 states per election, he got 99 out of 100 correct in his prediction. But that's not happening this time. I would guess he'll get a pretty big chunk wrong. So
you got to assume so. What's your opinion on people? This is from Rutabaga. What's your opinion on people who choose to refrain from voting altogether because of the current candidates? Vote anyways and vote someone third party or whoever, or write in yourself and vote for the other shit that's on the ballot. You dumbass. That's my opinion. Like, oh, these candidates suck. Not every candidate in the whole world sucks, just those two. So don't vote for those two. Vote for someone else. I don't care who it is. The other stuff in your local area, that directly affects you immediately. Vote for that shit. Most of those people are liberal too.
Yeah, the thing about, I've noticed this about liberals. Don't get me wrong, Republicans have a purity test of sorts too, but liberals have this feeling that if their candidate isn't 100% perfect, then they might as well just not even fucking bother. And that's not true. You see this with a lot of people who are Bernie or bust type people who, once he lost, said, I'm not voting for Hillary. The thing is, politics isn't a game in which you win 100% all the time. It's a game of shifts. And if you want a more progressive country, yeah, sometimes it's a very slow process and you got to vote for the person who's a little bit more progressive. You don't throw it out and then just let the opposite happen and backslide and go backwards 8 years. And Trump has said, and Obama has a lot of problems. Trust me, there are a lot of things I totally disagree with Obama about. But overall, I think his presidency has been somewhat successful. He broke a lot of his promises. He didn't do everything he said. But I think the country has gone in a better direction the past 8 years. We went through a recession. A
great recession.
We're slowly crawling our way out of it. But Trump has said, day one, if he gets in, he's already going to have people drafting executive orders, as many as he can, to undo everything Obama did. Which,
that's a bad thing.
That's bad.
He can't do that anyways. It doesn't. I mean, he couldn't executive.
Oh, he'll try it. He would try it. Absolutely.
Of course, he would try it. He doesn't understand how the executive office works. God. He said he would repeal Obamacare immediately. You can't do that. It'd have to go to the Senate, and it'd have to go to the House, and then it'd have to probably go to the Supreme Court. So
yeah. But if they get back the Senate, then they get to pick the Scalia replacement, and they'd be very Republican and a partisan hack, a lot like Scalia, and they'd probably go in favor of Trump, and we'd be one step closer to a dictatorship. Hooray!
Maybe they'll make him, emergency dictator, just like Caesar. Okay, so some live things. I like this one because it's gonna murder you, Hugo. Reese K asks, Hugo, I'd like to hear Hugo play devil's advocate for Trump just to see what good he sees in the living meme that is Trump. If there's a case to be made for Trump from your end, Hugo, what is it?
Interesting. Okay, thought experiment. Here we go. I guess if I had to say there are any redeeming qualities, if you're absolutely fed up with the system and you don't want to fix it, you want to throw a fucking grenade at it and watch it disintegrate, and you think that's the proper direction for the country, Trump's your guy. I think that's
but it's not a blanket fort. It's not you can just like light it and it goes up. This is an infrastructure thing that would crumble around you in person. It's not like your local governments would also dissolve.
Right. And if you hate gays, if you hate abortion to the point where you want it banned for absolutely everyone under any circumstance,
even me,
especially you, if you want, what else? If you hate ISIS so much you want torture,
if you hate proportional hands,
if you, there are. I get why.
If you like being respected amongst world leaders. Like people internationally, I polled the other day on Twitter. Internationally, people view President Obama positively, and 59% of the people in this country, regardless of party affiliation, view President Obama positively. So respect goes a long way in the international world, especially when you're saying "Make America Great Again." He actually had to be great to pull that off.
See, here's the thing. Again, talking about why people like Trump, other than, there is a portion that are just racist assholes. That's a fact. Even if you're a Trump supporter, don't hide from that. There are a sizable number of people who just like him because they hate Muslims. I'm not talking about Islam. You can hate Islam, but I'm talking hate the Muslims next door who are just minding their own business. I guarantee
there are racist Democrats too, but you and I both know it's a smaller percentage.
Southern strategy. Anyway, I understand if you're someone who's economically disenfranchised and you feel like trade deals and the government has let you down. At the very least, his rhetoric sounds good to you. I understand why that makes sense. He's lying to you. I hope you know that. He is absolutely lying. He ships his own jobs overseas and doesn't give a single fuck. His campaign managers are huge into special interest. One of the head people in his campaign were behind Citizens United, which helped
get fired. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Did you see who he was going? I cut you off again. Fuck you, Hugo. Did you see who he's going to appoint Treasury Secretary?
Wasn't it a Goldman Sachs?
It's a Goldman Sachs ex-CEO.
See, this is what I'm saying.
He's very anti-establishment. Fuck you.
And
not even Hillary would do that.
No,
Hillary probably sleeps in a bed with Goldman Sachs logos on the covers, and isn't dumb enough to hire Goldman Sachs for treasurer.
It's the difference between buying into rhetoric and seeing the dog whistles. Trump doesn't actually give a shit about you. He likes attention and he wants power. Come on. And Hillary likes that to an extent too. I'm not an idiot, I know.
Oh, she for sure wants a good legacy. But the one of the things that makes me confident in her is how badly she wants to have a good legacy. She'll do anything to do it. And sure, sometimes it might be shady, but every president does shady things. Like every single one of them. We kill innocent people all the time.
Yeah,
it's just how it works, because we're a global military. It always is going to happen forever and ever, because we're never going to be isolationist again. It's just not the way the world's going to work. The next time America doesn't kill someone that is innocent in a year, it's because America doesn't exist anymore, and probably not the Earth. We probably blew it up. And last year, of course, because we would have killed millions of innocents. But
ballot measure. Sorry, breaking news: medical marijuana has passed in Florida by a landslide. So,
oh, cool. I hope Trump doesn't executive order that out.
That's the we need.
He's still winning. Still winning by 100,000 votes
in Florida.
100,000.
Not looking good. We're getting down to the wire.
100,000. Every time they do it, she gets closer. She was down 200,000 a minute ago. Yeah, as if this could be made easy and we could just go to bed. Nope, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Wow, still winning Ohio, but it's very, very close. North Carolina, she's winning. He won Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee. He's winning in Texas now, up 200,000, or not even 200,000, but 150,000. I assume that will climb. I can't imagine that it won't. Of course, she will win California. If she doesn't win California, I think Jill Stein would win it. So I don't think Jill Stein's going to win it.
Oh, wow. She's
Hey,
still
man.
down in Virginia. I'm surprised.
Nah.
Wow, that was supposed to go to her. Totally. I'm shocked.
Really?
Mhm.
Virginia? How many Virginian votes do we got? He's only up 30,000.
Oh,
You
okay.
scared?
That could.
Yeah, come on, do math. Anyway,
It's by
um,
6%, though, so that's quite a bit. It's by 6%. So
your face
it's a
is
low
6%.
population state, relatively speaking.
James Ilkin asked, "Should I invest in bleach?" Of course, you got to keep your whites white. I'm diabetic and I ate a brownie tonight because, well, what crazy did you guys do? I made an Irish mule with cherries in it. That's a whiskey, ginger beer, and lime juice. So
What else is going on?
fancy as fuck. I have a good question.
Okay.
Ramaz asks, "Do you think that Bernie's socialism model could work in America?" Now, it wasn't 100% socialist, but I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of social programs in that. Yes and no. I think single payer would work. I don't think college would work, although that would be fantastic, but I don't think we can pull that off. But single payer, think about this with single payer healthcare. You blow up Obamacare, you make the Republicans happy real quick. And while they're riding their hard cocks, you get to hit them over the head with, hey, also, we're going to cut a lot of spending in Medicaid and Medicare. We're going to just totally slash that. And also, we're going to cut a small portion, not a lot, but a small portion of Social Security, because part of that is used for medications and stuff like that. We're going to take all that money and we're going to put it into the pot for single payer. Then we're going to cut military spending by about $200 billion, which still makes us the highest highest paid military on planet Earth, still by several hundreds of billions of dollars. And then we're going to tax the upper class more, the middle class a little bit more. We're going to maintain the lower class. And then the lower class has better health care and can afford to go get their fucking ankles and legs fixed, and they have diabetes, and they can start making more money because they're more able to work, and then they can, do better. It's reverse trickle down. You enable people to be healthier and just in a better situation by taxing people that can afford it, including. And by the way, you get that. Now, I would like to add that I would like a private option for those that are willing to pay more money, but that doesn't exempt you from the national health care. So if you're a millionaire and you want to go to the best doctor in the country, fucking go for it. That's fine. I don't care. That's great. But I don't think you should be able to opt out of the taxes that are needed to pay for the lower class to afford something that only the upper class can. So
yeah, I pretty much agree. As far as the college thing, I agree that I don't think it would work at the level he was talking about, but I do think
community college.
I think some sort of debt relief program at the very least, or some sort of controls on making sure that things don't get so inflated and book prices and stuff aren't so high, that would help. The college situation right now is unsustainable. That's a bubble that's going to pop, and you can't take bankruptcy on student loans, I'm pretty sure, right?
You might not be able to.
A lot of people take federal student loans, and those you can't bankrupt yourself out of. I'm pretty sure.
What's going to have to happen is the country's going to have to take a loss on those loans.
Yeah, at some point it's going to happen.
Otherwise, you're just going to have a bunch of broke ass people that have degrees, and you raped them, and that's your fault. I do think, yeah, if you did 2 free years of community college, and then you could, and I hate to do this. Well, now you could have public 4-year colleges. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it could be cheaper than the private. So if you can afford it, or you get scholarships from the college or whatever, then you can go to those private ones. But I feel like there should be a 4-year option for people that, are 3.5s, GPAs, are good students and want to go to college and want to make something of themselves. I also think trade schools and stuff should be more popular. But that doesn't really have anything to do with his policy necessarily.
Quick Florida update, 91% of the votes are counted. Trump 49.1%, Clinton 47.8%. He needs this state So if those margins continue to swing in his favor, then he's going to be happy.
They're not really swinging in his favor. It's pretty much been maintaining since we got over 2 million votes. It's at 4,196,446 for Hillary and 4,312,504 for Trump. That's the difference of 120,000 votes, barely. It's not. I mean, it's still very close, and they're not calling it yet. Georgia, I assume, is going to Trump. They haven't called it yet, and I don't know why. Has Atlanta been polled? That might be why.
I have to look.
It doesn't look like it based on the numbers I'm looking at, but I could be wrong.
Mine has Atlanta starting to come in, yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta's blue, obviously. I'm trying to look and see if there's anything else going on. She is up big in Pennsylvania. She's already. I mean, we've only got 140,000 votes, but of those, 100,000 are hers. That's interesting. Pennsylvania. If he loses Pennsylvania, that's kind of big.
Yeah, he needs to start flipping some of these other swing states. If he gets Florida, good for him, but he needs to start flipping some of these other ones, or else.
Florida and Ohio in models were expected to go to Trump anyways.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Trump is up in Ohio now. Just barely. No, wait, what? These numbers aren't right. She's up. She's up very slightly.
By 2,000 votes. Fuck you, Ohio. Why do you... God, Ohio and Florida. Every time. Anyways. Popular vote, he is up 1.5 million. Of course, we haven't gotten to the West Coast yet, which usually changes that dramatically.
It balances that out once it hits California, like big time. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay, more questions. This is just for fun. Dr. Doom or Lex Luthor for president? Lex Luthor.
Dr. Doom. People in Latveria seem pretty happy. Like, that's actually not too bad for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What do you think? Experience. So.
Ashley, what do you think could be done to get more people engaged in local elections, where the results affect them more? I think if you did an app-based thing, based on phone numbers,
that's so vulnerable to tampering.
Hold on. I can secure pay through Amazon where everyone's at, but I can't make a vote secure. Come on, we can do this. I'm just saying, we can do this. Now, people might say, okay, you just buy a bunch of phones, but I feel like you register your phone with a credit card. Just check the credit cards.
I think simply having
credit cards. Fine, send the GOP, or if it's usually the GOP, but send the Dems in the area to fucking jail. I don't care.
I think even just nationwide mail-in voting would be great.
Nationwide mail-in should be, but that's a lot of fucking people.
I know, but what are you
gonna do? Do you think this is from Charlie Goddard? I keep forgetting to read your names first. I'm sorry. Do you think that Hillary will continue to work in favor of big banks, like with the Wall Street issue, and will it be a problem? Okay, part of working with big banks is important for the economy, so there's an element of that is actually beneficial to you and I, and it doesn't just go to CEOs all the time. It's for stability purposes, like the bailout. While ethically we wanted them all to suffer, pragmatically that sends the country into the tank. So we don't do that, and then a bunch of those banks end up getting sued because the CEOs end up taking bonuses and blah blah blah. It worked itself out. It's not ideal, but that's the situation we were in.
I'm more concerned about federal regulation and stuff. I am concerned about that. That's another downside to Hillary Clinton. I'm afraid that big banks and Wall Street won't be regulated the way they should. Because the defense after that all happened, after 2008, was none of what we did was illegal. Well, that's not the point. The point wasn't that it was illegal. It was that it was unethical and probably should be illegal. Now, in fairness, you can't go to jail for something that should be illegal and isn't. But at the end of the day, I don't think a lot of people learned their lesson. I think they just went on scamming people in different ways. If you saw, what was it called? The Big Short, they kind of explain this. They have these CDOs, which are basically a bunch of shitty mortgages with people with bad credit scores and stuff thrown together. That was a big part of the bubble and the financial collapse. Apparently now there is a new thing that is very similar to a CDO in structure, in that it takes into account a lot of bad mortgages and stuff. I've also heard there's something with cars now. That a lot of that business has moved to really cheap, shitty car financing with high adjustable rates and stuff.
They would buy up like stocks on investments and shit, and then bet against that, which is fraud.
That was the good. No, that was the air quotes good people. That was the Christian Bale. They were they took out basically insurance policies.
What?
Simply on the.
You're talking about the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I'm talking about real life.
Okay.
There was also that happening. I don't know. They weren't the good people.
I'm saying in the movie, the main characters, that's what they were doing. They were shorting.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the movie. I've never seen it. Freak asks, Hillary is winning Texas so far. Do you want to see a blue Texas? I'd love to see a blue Texas. But I wouldn't but I wouldn't want it forever. Because if they remain uncontested, like if the Dems win Texas and it stays blue, that's basically uncontested elections and for the foreseeable. I don't like that.
From what I see right now, she is not winning Texas, so I don't know what you're talking about. He's up 5%, which is...
It was 19 minutes ago. I don't know.
Oh, that's
Still, though, the question remains. Thanks for making this election suck less. There's a Johnny Walker Red Label bottle and a glass of wine next to it. You don't have to double fist. It's not... Come on. Calm down. Oh, okay. Good and Godless asks, how long will either candidate go before getting assassinated should they win? Wow. Well, I hope that doesn't happen to either. As much as I don't like Donald Trump, I don't wish for him to be assassinated. I feel like that's fucked up. But if I had to pick one that's going to be assassinated first, it'd probably be Donald.
Honestly, it wouldn't it'd be
Black Lives Matter exists.
I would think, honestly, more likely after he loses, if he goes on a tirade next, like, I didn't want it anyway. I was just, you know what I mean? If he basically betrays his hardcore supporters, they'd be more likely to act on him. You know what I mean?
If he loses and betrays them in the concession speech.
Yeah, or in the coming months or whatever. I'm assuming they're going to follow him for a while. The news is going to follow what he does for the next month or so. And if he does Trump TV, which, did you see I guess there were pictures of the place where Trump's after party is supposed to be, and there are places in the place for the different news outlets, and it says on the floor where you're supposed to put your camera. So there's one that said CNN, MSNBC, and there was one for Trump TV.
I told you people about this.
So that might be launching tonight as a surprise by the Donald. We'll see.
Surprise! Yeah, we're all surprised.
I would like to think that if he loses and he does say in his concession speech, I'm starting Trump TV, I'd like to think his supporters would be able to say, wait a minute, how did he know he was going to lose so he could run Trump TV? Maybe he was conning us. But they won't. They'll be like, all right, Trump TV, I'm going to buy my gold and bomb shelter stuff for when Hillary comes to take my guns away from that shitty network, whatever.
Okay, so they're calling Texas for Trump.
Yeah, not shocking.
Yeah, I'm not shocked either. Yeah, it looks like he's got about 50% of the vote right now. That makes sense.
It's actually that's a smaller margin than I would have expected from Texas. I think generally the Republicans win by a lot more. The demographics are changing a lot in Texas, in part due to immigration. And also, there's a big tech sector starting to boom there in Texas. So a lot of people from California and stuff are starting to move out there for jobs. So in the big cities, the demographics are changing. Over the next 20 years, it's going to probably turn into a swing state. In fairness, some other states are going to flip too. Like I talked about Michigan earlier, without the unions, it's probably going to turn red in the next 5 to 10. I don't know why I say 5. There's not a presidential election in 5 years, it's 4. But you know what I mean. That's the time scale. In the next 10 years, it's going to be much more of a swing state, if not go outright red. So,
yeah, I agree. I'm not seeing many things that are surprising so far. It just keeps happening. She's basically got the entire Northeast, which everyone figured. North Carolina is wobbling, I suppose, if you're interested in North Carolina, which is worth 15 electoral votes. He's up by 500 votes or so, maybe 600. This is a question from Not Like Australia. What do you think about people who think legalizing weed across the board will lead to a bigger drug problem? I think those people are fear-mongering cunts.
They're wrong. It's been shown to do the opposite. I think in Colorado, opioid use went way down after legalization.
Well, because you can manage pain without opiates now.
Yeah.
Did you see how much Kyle Kalinske, Secular Talk, who is far more interesting than us, did a video? Was it today or yesterday? How much weed would it take to kill you? And it's like 1,500 pounds in like 10 minutes or something. So it's never happened. It's physically impossible to ingest that much THC from the marijuana plant. You can take straight THC and die, but it's fine. And frankly, I think we should legalize all drugs, but not just on the street necessarily. I think most drugs could be in a controlled situation where they it's called a heroin hotel in Europe, but it's not just heroin. Could be opiates, could be cocaine, could be other stuff. So meth. It's basically an area where you can legally go do these drugs. You buy a room, you go there, or if we had national health care, you just go to the room. If you weren't doing recreational, it'd be a recreational and a medical. If it was recreational, cool, but it's in a controlled setting where they can monitor you and make sure you don't fucking die. You can have a good time, do whatever. If that's what you want to do, or if you're going through, addiction, you can use it there, but they have a slant towards treatment and destigmatization, where if you are addicted to heroin, you're probably stealing from your family and shit, but if you can just get it legally through the National Health Service and get treated for your addiction, yes, that's fantastic. And of course, if you want to go just, maybe I want to try some meth this weekend, you go try some meth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a problem with that as long as it's controlled. Now, there's some stuff like weed, for instance, I think is a perfectly fine street drug. Of course, I don't think you should drive under the influence of that, and I think it should be handled just like a DWI or DUI, which it is typically. There's really no... You could still drug test it if you're an employer. If you don't want people smoking weed, that's fine. Don't hire people that are smoking weed. And although I think your prospective employee market dips significantly, but if that's something you're against, that's okay. I don't think, for instance, educators, what my first career path was going to be, should be smoking call it in season for the 9 months that you're teaching. I feel like that's probably not something you should do.
Well, people go. You're telling me no teacher goes home at night and has a drink, though. I don't.
I agree with you. I'm just saying it's a government job, so I get why if you want to legislate, I'll take legal street weed. If you want to keep your teachers not smoking, I'm fine with that. That's a concession I will give you. I'm just saying, both sides can make an agreement on this, I think, and treat it much like alcohol. But if they wanted to not let people smoke it in certain jobs, I get that. I disagree with it personally, but I get it. Because I don't know if they've ever graded a stack of papers, but you need a blunt after that. Especially if they're essay questions. You fucking cunts are illiterate.
Got another question?
Oh, I got plenty. Patrick Welch. If you didn't have to worry about a Trump presidency, would you vote Joe Exotic for president? You know who Joe Exotic is, Hugo?
Oh, yeah, I do. The guy with
the guy with tigers and shit. He refuses to wear a suit. Crazy. I'm gay. I have 3 or 4 mates. Yeah, he's crazy. No, I wouldn't vote for Joe Exotic unless it was for court jester. Then yes.
You know what? If we're throwing like I said, a grenade at the system one way or another, I'm gonna pick Joe Exotic over Donald Trump, because at least Joe Exotic will be fun. Like Donald Trump, it's just gonna be super depressing, like final days of Rome shit. Like I'm gonna go out and buy a fucking fiddle. But like Joe Exotic, it's like, all right, let's hang out. Yeah.
Autumn Moss McIntosh asks, I saw a bumper sticker for Trickle Up. Do you think the ACA, the Affordable Care Act / Obamacare, do you think the Obamacare instability will lead to deaths? No. Deaths? Not any more than not being insured did. You know what I mean? It's not. What I think it will do, though, is it will not work eventually, but this was a temporary measure anyways. This was a stepping stone towards single payer. So if they don't take that step, it's kind of dumb. Remember, Obamacare was the Mitt Romney plan. Obama took the Mitt Romney plan, which was for his state at the time. Obama took the Mitt Romney plan to Congress, and Congress was like, nah, because we're Republicans, so let's strip it of this, 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 and this. And so it went from this taxable thing where taxes would go up for it, which is almost single pay. It was basically like enhanced Medicaid, where it was still technically you could pick and choose your providers when you can now, but it was kind of subsidized by taxes. And it is subsidized, but it's not by as many taxes. And then it ended up, instead of being just straight taxed, they lowered the tax on it, but added a fine on your tax returns at the end of the year, which I have never had to pay. You just tell them you can't afford it, and typically they just make you not pay for it. It was supposed to be a stepping stone. It's supposed to go forward.
Right now, they need to add either a public option or a Medicare buy-in type situation where there is an option that can compete with the for-profit healthcare companies.
Yeah, I would prefer it with single payer, but yeah, I agree with you.
The huge issue with the healthcare in this country is the profit motive. I would prefer there be absolutely no profit motive involved in healthcare. It's just one of those things I don't think it should be a part of. Everyone is going to get sick. Everyone is going to get hurt. I'd like to think in 2016, which most Western countries already do this, we can collectively decide, okay, let's just have this be a thing that's there when you need it. No questions asked. It's pretty simple, but America, especially after the Cold War, so capitalistic, like in a bad way. And don't get me wrong, capitalism's great, but it can go too far. And hospitals in this country and healthcare in this country are a huge, probably the biggest issue that we have as far as capitalism going too far. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Let's keep looking at question. Here, I have a question from earlier. Anthony M asks, "Do you think the next election will have better candidates?" Yeah, mostly because the bar is so low. Well, I don't know who it would be.
One of them will be the same, most likely, unless I think it's happened maybe once. Where
if either of them got impeached, it wouldn't be.
Impeached or they decide not to. I think once a president decided not to run for a second term, they just didn't want to. I forget who it was.
Impeached and also found guilty. Impeachment's just the process, if you didn't know. Brandy asks, Brandy with an I, so she's like a stripper. This isn't exactly directly related, but what are y'all's thoughts on the draft, the military draft, that being not the NFL, which I didn't apply for. I figured I wanted to, keep the playing field nice and balanced. Because if I get in there, I'll just Hall of Famer first day. I don't like the I understand the necessity of having a draft, but I don't know how many people would honor it nowadays. So, like when we were starting out, the draft was we're about to mount a revolution, and then we used it in Vietnam, which I think was for poor reasons, but it happened nonetheless. And obviously, that's a hindsight thing. So it is necessary when your country is in absolute peril, like in the Revolutionary War or the Civil War. It's necessary to do that if you don't think you have enough people. But I don't know if it would actually work now. I think people would just be like, "Fuck this! I'm going to Mexico, or I'm going to Canada." Like the world's so small now, we can just fly away. It wouldn't so. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the draft is, in theory, it makes sense for the preservation of any single sovereign nation. In practice, I don't think it should ever be tried to use again, or people will just be like, "Nah, fuck that. You can arrest everybody. You don't have enough people to fight a war." Bertram Kruger asks, "Besides the president, how much research do you do on all the other choices on the ballot?" This depends on where I'm living and how soon they send that kind of. They usually send a packet in the mail of the people on the thing. I'll usually read through that. I do more research on the president, the vice president, and the senators, and the whichever House representatives are up for re-election. This year I didn't do it though, very much. I did a little bit before because I did an absentee ballot. So I could go on Google and look at their policies and shit. But if I had to go to the polls, I probably would have taken time yesterday to do it.
I researched the Supreme Court justices in Michigan because there's 2 spots I believe open for a new Supreme Court person, and I did research those and voted on those. But other than that, not really. Michigan did just flip slightly. Now it's Trump up by 0.3%, although they still haven't counted Ann Arbor or Flint. So,
that's bad for him.
Yeah,
if they haven't counted Ann Arbor or Flint yet, if you don't know, Ann Arbor is where the University of Michigan is, and Flint's, you know where Flint's at.
Something in Grand Rapids.
What?
Is something in Grand Rapids because they haven't counted that yet either.
Oh, Grand Rapids is that's what? It's Grand Valley State University. Oh. It's a college town too. It looks like Michigan's probably going to be blue.
It's tighter than it would have been in previous years, though. So that is interesting. It looks like his rhetoric on free trade did help him.
Yeah, her ground game is much better though. So like she's winning New Mexico. It's very early, of course, but I'm actually surprised that she didn't steal one of these southern states yet. I don't know how close places like Georgia are. It looks like she's going to lose Georgia. Florida is getting a little bit further now. It just depends on turnout. So there's a huge Latin surge of people, though.
Well, we saw it in early voting, but I don't know what's going on. Let me see.
I got to imagine that's like the lines in Florida. The polls closed, an hour ago?
There's only like 4% of the vote left to get, and I doubt it's all her. So I'm guessing he's getting Florida just narrowly, very narrowly. So it looks like probably for a long fucking night, especially because it looks like he might take Ohio too, which was expected. But
again, it's just one of those things where can we make it quicker? But no, we can't. Man, this is it's just one of those things. It's so electoral college. You make this go too long. Saul also among the prophets. That's a Bible study joke. Let's go with this one right here. Queen Leviathan, if you were in California, would you vote no on Prop 60? I swear I don't have ulterior motives in asking this question, wink. That implies you have ulterior motives. If you don't know what Prop 60 is in California, it's the should porn people use condoms in films. They're all checked and screened. I feel like it's consensual sex. Like it's kind of forcing. I don't know. I would probably vote no, but like I don't know why that's a big deal. Like they're worried about AIDS and shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't
all the time.
I don't care I think that's up to the particular porn performers if they want to.
And some porn people prefer that to wear condoms, and I get it.
Totally,
I don't care. Like, do
I don't
your
think
thing.
that should be legislated on.
Wrap your dick or don't. It's up to you. It's a crapshoot, man. Yeah. So, I don't know. Kids, double wrap it. Works every time, twice as well. David Lennonhawk, what positions would your perfect presidential candidate hold? I love this question. Get to jack off to myself for a little bit. So my perfect presidential candidate would have so socially libertarian-ish. Economic libertarianism is stupid, kids. Don't buy into it. But social libertarianism makes sense. Like give people a bunch of freedoms. The only freedom that I actually want to curtail is access to specific types of guns, meaning anything that shoots a lot. If you don't know my gun-related stance, it's basically revolvers, pump shotguns, and bolt-action rifles of any caliber. Go for it. But anything that shoots, and I know a revolver is semi-automatic, but with a magazine, semi-automatic like 9mm and Glocks, I feel like that should only be for the police. And then the police should be demilitarized at the top level. But hear me out. The guns, would if you say you own machine guns, okay, you're a collector of machine guns, or you were gonna Columbine something and kind of talk yourself out of it. Who knows? You could, in my head, this is the policy I would go with: give the NRA 1 year to set up to have like a limited time monopoly over the situation where they can set up NRA sanctioned gun ranges where you turn in your guns to them for like credit to the place, where you can use them recreationally in a large place. And also for those who say we need a well-regulated militia, in times of crisis, that's your ammo dump. That's the place where the community would go. Say if we got Red Dawned and the fucking Koreans came down, or the Russians, you could go there and you would have an armory. It'd be like your own little Bastille, if that's what you want to, that's what you kids want to do with your militias and your bird sanctuaries and all that stuff. But there would also be a buyback program for the first year, where for every gun you turn in that is considered illegal, for a whole year you have amnesty on owning them. But during that time, turning them in gives you $500, regardless of what it is. And I know some guns are more expensive, so maybe you want to hold on to that for 364 days. Who knows? Do your thing. Or you could also turn it into the NRA thing, still own it, but it would, you can't keep it in your house, but you wouldn't get any money for it. And then if after that year it's $1,000 per, so technically I assume the country would take a net loss on that, but over time the culture of that would change to a much more responsible gun ownership, and I'm fine with that. Now, drugs and stuff, go for it. I would want socialized healthcare. I would want education reform in that. I think Common Core is not the way to go. I think each demographic within it'd take a lot of research, and we do have the data for that kind of stuff, testing situations. I keep saying situations. The manatee has gotten to me. There's data sets that say, like, if you change the language of something, say a rural white kid might understand, but a urban black kid might not understand, and vice versa. If you change the like an essay question around to make the words different. That kind of research should go into it. It should be local people, local heads of schools that set up these standardized tests for each. It could be as small as a municipality or a city, or large enough like for a county. I feel like county makes more sense. But standardized to a national bar that we set, but the language inside those is changed. I think the first 2 years of college we can pay for. We should reduce military spending and be smarter with the money we spend in the military. Like, sometimes we just make shit we don't need for no reason. Like, we're not going to get into a fucking air war tomorrow. We don't need 1 million bombers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have drones and shit. Technology is improving and getting more efficient. We should be more efficient in the military. We can drop the overall spending while probably losing little to none efficiency there. And then I'm trying to think of what else. Supreme Court justices would be liberal, in my opinion. And free weed for everybody. Boom.
Let's see.
You disagree with me on any of that real quick?
Some stuff, but it was a lot of stuff. So I'll say, sure, I agree.
Get scallops.
Sorry, I'm looking at Florida right now. I guess looking at this website, if Trump wins Florida, he has a 59% chance of becoming president. So
wow.
Takes that into account.
That's not good for me. I mean, it might be good for
you.
if
you're a Trump supporter, I'm sure you're pretty happy about it. If Clinton wins, she has a 93% of taking the presidency, by the way.
Wow, that's drastic.
Yeah, it's an important state. I hate how much
she's winning New Mexico, Colorado, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, New Hampshire right now.
Yeah, I hate how much weight gets put on certain states, especially ones with very specific demographics, like old people.
It's based on the house distribution.
Oh, I understand. I would much prefer we just go to a popular vote. It's such a pain in the ass that so many states get so much attention when others get totally ignored.
I agree with you, but part of that's so that California and New York don't dominate the popular vote.
I can understand that, but still, yeah.
I hear you. I think if we went to, this is a question. I don't know who asked it, and I don't know if it. Okay, so here it is. Aiden Sylvester, what's your guys' views on the Electoral College? Let's talk about that. If you switch to a popular vote, I do think that third parties would become more viable because you wouldn't have to do battleground states, and it would feel like your vote counts more. Because some votes count more than others depending on where you live. Like my vote, if I were like the next election, I will be a citizen of Idaho. My vote will count more than it does in Michigan, but I feel like my vote is more important in Michigan, if that makes sense. Because technically, I make up a larger percentage of the 3 electorates that Idaho has.
4. That is 4.
But I feel like Michigan is a more important state right now. But it wouldn't matter where you lived if it was a popular vote. And I think you could kind of just do heat maps, and that would kind of look cool on election night. And I also think that it takes away the nail biting.
Yeah, right. This is way. I mean, I guess I kind of thought it would be close, but goddamn, ooh, it's close.
It's just like honestly, this guy, like, he's so much worse than most of his other. Like, Jeb was perfectly reasonable. He just was like, nepotism, and his name's Jeb. Well, it's not really Jeb, but like Mitt Romney should have destroyed, but he didn't really run. It's just like, Mitt Romney. I would vote for Mitt Romney if it was between him and Trump every time, like 100% of the time.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point, literally, the race started on this website in particular, it gave Clinton, with what they had at the beginning, an 82% of victory, which is way too high. This is why I'm more in line with like Nate Silver, who was more pessimistic about it. She was in the 60s or so. So far as the race has gone on, it's now ticked down to exactly 50-50 as to who's going to win. And that's sad. This isn't true. The people I'm saddest for are myself and pretty much everyone in the country. But the people who Trump said all these really big things to about trade and jobs and the economy, they're going to be pissed in 4 years, or more likely they'll blame Obama.
Here's the deal. They're going to be fucked because most of the people, I literally have heard Trump's going to make us millionaires with no joking. They were like serious. They were wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Trump's going to make us all millionaires. Do you understand how the economy would just that make you lower class?
Yeah,
still, it's do you understand that that's not a good thing? You need a lower class, or everyone's lower class. Also, how much he wasn't going to raise minimum wage. How did you think that was going to occur?
He says he wants to lower wages. So,
right. But he also wants to lower taxes on the top percent, meaning that the load bearing ends up on the middle and lower class again, which is a bad thing if you have any social programs. Like, for instance, people that use the Affordable Housing Act or whatever it's called to pay for their mortgage, that gets destroyed. That's one of the first things that are going to get cut if you can't pay for it with taxes are important. Trickle down doesn't work. It's never worked. Trickle down is stupid because that implies that people with money are making jobs. We're not employing anyone. Now, we're not upper class, but we're not employing anyone, and we're business owners. You know what I'm saying? It's just us.
It implies that employers are in any way incentivized to hire people. They would love to automate. If you could reduce your costs by getting rid of employees and automating, you're always going to do that because that's just an extra cost on top of things. You don't want to employ people. You have to employ people.
It's so silly. And
the state of labor in this country is terrible right now. It's awful.
Right. And he says he wants to improve infrastructure. Well, how are you going to do that? He says, well, we're going to create jobs by fixing the highways. How are you going to pay for those jobs? You pay people with the money you get from taxes. You can't just be like, increase military spending, cut taxes, we're going to do well. No, that doesn't work. That's not how you pay for things. That's like people that can't balance their checkbook. They make no sense to me.
He's probably going to do what he does with his contractors. He's going to tell them he'll pay them later and then never pay them.
Jesus. I really hope that doesn't happen because the lower class is going to be shit on. Like it's just going to be really not good for the lower class if that happens. And I know a lot of people that are lower class, and I would like to see them do well. I would like to see them just kind of, be okay, but I don't know. 4 years of either I can deal with. 8, I think, is a disaster. I feel like he would probably get impeached, though.
Then you get Mike Pence as a president, and that's almost worse than Trump because he's competent.
Mike Pence is one of the huge reasons that I didn't buy into the lesser. He's the lesser of two evils, because Mike Pence is the absolute. He's Santorum. He's like literally Rick Santorum with a different name and better hair. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so I feel like people don't understand what the executive office does. If you're an atheist and you voted for Trump, you just voted against your well-being as far as your view on the universe. Like Mike Pence is his number 2, and it's his he's religious as fuck. He thinks you should have no rights whatsoever, and he wants to expand libel laws. You're anti-PC, and he wants to curtail your freedom of speech. It ain't make no sense, dog. Anyways, moving on. We got I don't know. Sean Christensen. If Trump wins this, will you guys do anything specific out of depression? No. Depression. I won't be depressed. I'll be
pretty disappointed in this country, if I'm being totally honest. I know there's a lot of people I disagree with politically, and that's fine, but this is a little more than political disagreement at this point. Donald Trump is just a bad human being, I think.
He's a bad dude, man.
And you can have your own feelings on Hillary if you want, that's fine, but not only is it the bad decision economically, socially, for your rights, he's just a bad guy.
I don't know. Billy asks, how do you recommend me and my friends cope with the frustration of being a few months shy of having a say in this disaster? I too experienced this. I graduated at 17 years old. Didn't get a shot. What's your opinion on sex ed? Obring asked. What do you think my opinion on sex ed is?
Pro would be my guess.
Pro, very pro. I would like you to show people porn and then be like, yeah, that's not how it works. I mean, sometimes if it's your birthday, but mostly it doesn't work that way. Do you think the police should just use swords? Hashtag I'm with Harold. Yeah, that'd be fucking rad. Like in knight armor, do it. Hugo, what's in the Harold Penisman mug?
Moscato. I showed it at the beginning. The bottle's empty now.
Is it barefoot?
No, it's Castello del Poggio.
I'm sure that sounds like things.
Yeah. Or maybe that's flavor. I don't know. It's Provincia de Pavia. That's what it is.
Dorog Stevenson, how do you guys feel about a Kanye West presidency?
After this, I'll take it.
I feel pretty positive about that. All clothes would be changed to a shade of brown. Kim Kardashian would be the first lady, making Northwest the first kid. I don't know if they have a dog. I hope he would still rap, though. I hope he would, from the podium, say New York gets bombed. He's like, my fellow Americans, I wrote this a cappella rap to show you how sad I am about New York. And then he does, a 15-minute, it's basically slam poetry, but it's Kanye West. So it's very much about him about 2 minutes in. That'd be great.
Okay, I'd go for that, sure.
Wow, that's okay. How do you feel about Trump getting rid of the EPA?
Oh, this is the thing. I am totally of the opinion, as are the vast majority of scientists, that climate change is a thing because it fucking is. Trump's positions and Mike Pence's positions on this. It's terrible. We already just recently, I forget what the exact parts per million. It was something either 4 million or 40 million parts per million. We basically hit the point of no return on climate change. There was no undoing the damage we have already done right now. So now we just have to try and stop doing so much damage and learn how to adjust as things move forward. Donald Trump isn't going to do anything for that. It's going to be terrible. It's going to accelerate, if anything. Whatever.
Oh man. What the fuck? I don't care about you. What's your opinion on the actual importance of this election, specifically the actual power of the presidential office? A lot of people think that the president could do whatever the fuck they want, and that's not the case. They sign into law stuff that Congress pushes through. But usually in a general election, the first 2 years will align with the president that was elected, if that makes sense. Now, usually, I don't know, this election's super weird, where people are going cross ballots, whatever. But the president also, now he can't pick in place. He picks or she picks and like nominates Supreme Court justices, which is important because they usually mirror that person's politics. And if you pick Trump's politics, it would be bad for you and I if you're watching this show. They can also make wartime decisions for, I wanted to say 30 days, but did it get expanded to 40?
I think so. It got extended sometime around 2000. Or
yeah, it was the Bush thing. And they are major diplomat. So foreign relations are huge on that. Also, they can sign executive orders. Depends on what those things are. That's a very complicated matter altogether. They can also pardon criminals. There's a lot more powers that the president has, but it's not just overreaching. So, like, for instance, people that are like, Hillary Clinton's going to start a no-fly zone the first day she's in office, she'd have to get the House and Senate to sign off on that. Then she'd have to do that unless she did an executive order without talking to Russia. But I don't feel like she's that dumb. So it's, as far as the actual importance of this election, because there's a Supreme Court spot open, I feel like it is pretty important, which is why it's the number one reason I voted for Hillary, if I'm honest with you, was the Supreme Court spot, the vacancy. I just... like, that is so much more important because that's a lifetime job. I can deal with 4 years of either person, but not a lifetime. Like, the next 30 to 40 years are going to be either a centrist or a liberal justice or a far, far right one. I'm not far, far right. I feel like centrist would be perfect because it'd be split right down the middle, and that's totally fine. I'm happy with everyone having a voice then. But, yeah. My wife and I are big fans. Can we come meet you in person? That'd be weird. We're in two different spots. Also creepy, bro. That's Nicholas Schoen. Write that down on the list of people to watch out for. We got 18 when people walk up to us, by the way. We have a no-fly list. Sean Christensen asks, how well do you think Bernie would do against Trump? I have friends who think he would lose, and I have a friend who thinks he would lose, and I think he's terribly wrong. I think Bernie would have won in a historic landslide.
Really? I don't think so. I'm of the opinion that I don't like to speculate on this. He's just so
not corrupt. We wouldn't have lost the liberal base that was behind him. You know
I think he would win, but I don't think he would win by a landslide because you're under the assumption that you'd be going against primary Bernie, who at that point hadn't had a lot of mud slung at him as far as some of the things he said. Republicans in a lot of America, while people our age aren't afraid of the word socialism, people older than us, they have memories of Soviet Union scare tactic stuff. So the word socialism is scary.
Yeah, but I think the Democrats that are voting for Hillary would have voted for him anyways. Does that make sense?
Probably, but...
yeah. Justine H. English, I don't know why, but I trust your opinions. You trust our opinions because we're not making it up. We're all being honest with you. That's why. We're not politicizing. We're not politicking.
Ooh.
We're just talking, you know?
Trump is up to 59% chance. Terrible. This is going to be a long, bad night.
Yeah,
maybe.
it looks like he's probably definitely going to win Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not calling that. Iowa is right in the middle. Wisconsin's going blue. That's interesting. How many people have voted in Wisconsin so far? Not a lot. We'll see what happens. That's interesting. Senate. Let's look at the Senate race right now. 42-42. House. 91-113 Republicans. Governor looks like it's a split. Let's see what Prop 60 is doing. We don't have any vote. Oh, that's right. California's not doing it yet. That's okay. That's okay. Noel asks, do you think Trump is saying it's all rigged to purposely incite violence? Not to incite violence. I think it's because he wants a backup plan if he loses because his ego is so big. Did you see the cake they have tonight? It's a bust of him.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. It's a cake of his face and head and shoulders. Like, that's the guy? He's a man of the people who showed you his vice presidential nomination on a throne of gold? I don't understand people. I don't understand him at all. Monarchor asks, do you think any of these militia people will actually do anything? This is, of course, assuming a Trump loss. I do think that there will probably be some liberal demonstrations, but I don't think it would get. I don't think a lot of those people are gun-toting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But no, I think that's impotent rage. Personally, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, I got my musket. Shut the fuck up, man. You're dumb. Your dick's no big at all. He drives around in a big truck and it's got truck nuts on it, and he shoots guns. He's got a giant magnum like Rick from The Walking Dead, and it's just impotent rage. And he hasn't had sex with his wife in 20 years.
Here's some interesting ballot measure. Colorado has voted to legalize assisted suicide. Wow, that's a pretty big step.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'm in favor of that personally. So, and Hillary took New Mexico. Trump got Louisiana.
Neither of these things are surprising to me. They're calling New Mexico?
That's what it said.
Oh, weird. I don't have it called on my screen.
It literally just happened, so it's possible it hasn't updated yet.
Gotcha.
On yours.
Cool. Whatevs. I'm surprised so far. It's just slow going, man. It's just slow going.
I say we go until 10 p.m. and then we let these people go and we all go our separate ways and worry for the next 3 hours.
I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable. I'm trying to look at the comments section here, and it's just cancer. It's just cancer.
Yeah, anyone who's a Trump supporter, and you want him to win, I hope you pulled all your money out of the markets, because if he wins, tomorrow's going to be one of the worst market days in years.
Yeah, it's gonna
be bad.
You're gonna see a market crash. Yeah, I don't know. So the German flags are happening. Leafy is cancer. Where's a good place to see this live? MSNBC, I prefer, because CNN's too fucking far left. Fox is obviously too far right. MSNBC usually has pundits from both sides, and they have nice discussions. Yeah, I can't read. All this is garbage. JQ, do you watch Secular Talk? Yeah, Kyle's a cool guy. Yeah. He'll be coming on when he gets the studio fixed. Big
Cool.
step in his new studio. Yeah, I think I don't know. I like him. I love cooking with Jake. Yay! I'm going to be doing more of that soon. Just got life busy. Real life. Again, what will you do depending on which candidate wins? Hugo is always more worried about shit than I am. I won't do anything either way. Obviously, I'll be happier if Clinton wins, but doesn't really matter.
I mean, what am I going to do? If he wins, he wins. That's how
No,
democracy.
yeah, I feel like you'd just be more upset than I will.
I'll be upset for sure. I'll be very disappointed in this country. Very.
Yeah, it's like I understand
the fact that it's this close and he's slightly leading right now. I'm already very disappointed that it got this far. That this strong man bullshit idiot has this much support. It's sad.
Like McCain and Mitt Romney have principles, so it's like, okay, I'm not worried that they're bad guys. I disagree with them.
Right.
I don't think Donald Trump's a good person.
No, he's
and you
not.
can say that about Hillary, but I don't feel like she's a bad person in that her intent is bad. I feel like she's just out of touch as fuck because she's always been in this circle. Like since she was a teenager, she's been doing this kind of shit. So it's like, this is her world.
Yeah.
So, and that's not, it's working against her. But yeah, I wonder if Trump supporters in 2 years, if he wins, are going to denounce him or not. Because I can't imagine anything good happens if literally any of the policies go through with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I've been talking about Michigan and how he's ahead. They've only have 15% reporting right now. That might be why.
Well, yeah, because you haven't got Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids.
Yeah. I guess
What's Detroit?
They're working on it. It's obviously blue right now, but they're not done with it.
Detroit's always blue. These cherries are delicious. All right. What do you think about Eli CS? What do you think about psilocybin and LSD? Do them if you want to. I don't care. That's one of those ones I'd probably allow on the streets. But I think, like, if you got caught driving, I think you should be punished for sure because that's fucking stupid. You can, think you're driving down a dragon, and really it's just it's school children. Justin Porteous asks, would you rather vote for Humongous or Harold Penisman? Hashtag I'm with Harold Penisman, of course. Mostly because it is me. Who would you choose? By the way, Harold Penisman is like further liberal than Bernie Sanders.
It's this guy on my mug. I'll go with him for the free drugs because he gives free drugs to people.
Banshee asks, what are your thoughts on having a party of science for presidency? I feel like you wouldn't get votes because it feels elitist. You'd have to call it something else. Like transhumanism doesn't make sense. You'd have to call it... no, you can't call it that.
Were you going to say Scientology?
I was going to say the white party.
Oh, no. Can't call that.
Well, that's immediately not going to get votes. No, I just think you could do a liberal pro-science party and call it whatever the fuck you want, just not the science party. It wouldn't make any sense. Erica, would you be willing to move to a different country? Do you mean because of the election? Because no. Just in general? Sure.
I'd like to move to Canada someday. I don't think I ever will, just because there's a pretty high bar for that. But
it's the high bar.
Like, yeah, immigration anywhere, any Western country is very difficult. It takes years and lots of money. And
oh well, yeah, no, I would just go there.
I think my political views fit more in line with where Canada is right now than America, for sure. But it's not I don't know.
Who's your pick for Supreme Court? I don't know.
I don't know judges.
Yeah,
in fairness, neither does Trump, but
I would know if I was running for president. If you owned a multi-billion-dollar business, would you honestly still not vote Trump? Yes. I would personally, but I'm of the opinion that money isn't nearly as important as the rest of the people on the planet. Not to say that the rest of us are fucked. I'm just saying, uh, like for instance, I feel like poor people are important to the country. You need a lawyer, a lower class. What?
You were gone that whole time, I think.
Was I gone? Oh, okay.
I couldn't hear you at least.
Well, the question was distant. Maybe it was Distant Red asked, if you owned a multi-billion-dollar business, would you honestly still not vote for Trump? I would not, because I understand, economically speaking, how important the lower class is. Odds are, if I own a multi-billion-dollar business, the lower class supports me. So if I enable them, I make more money, even if I pay more taxes.
I agree with you. Something huge just happened, though.
What?
Evan McMullin has become the first candidate since 1968 to win a state as a third party.
He stole Utah from Trump.
He stole Utah from Trump. That's awesome.
Good for Evan McMullin. And good for Utah. I don't know how many electoral votes that is. It's not very many, is it?
It's like 3 or 4.
Six.
Six.
That's all right.
That's not bad. That can make a difference if it's a real tight race. Although this is part of the, was unnecessary for like the one scenario in which they both get to 269 and then the House gets.
No!
Wouldn't that be the worst? Fuck it, do it, and then pick McMullin. That'd be great. Because the only qualification is you need to win at least one electoral vote, and he got 6. So
okay, quick guys, vote for me in Hawaii. Do it.
No, fuck. It says what he could. I read that wrong. I apologize.
Oh, man, you got me all excited.
See, this is why I don't work for an actual news organization.
I wanted Evan McMullin.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
He could genuinely win that state, though, so maybe
fairness,
you're right.
This was a very misleading tweet from NBC. It looked very official, and that's my bad, though. I apologize.
You're garbage. You're just garbage. What else is happening? Michigan, again, they still haven't voted. Grand Rapids is right now. I can't zoom in anymore. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Only 15% of the vote is in, but he is ahead. So I'm hoping it's just taking longer to count Detroit.
Yeah, a little bit, but Saginaw County, Bay City, etc., have a lot of minorities in them. Most of this is rural. Like, I expect the entire UP to be red. It's almost always red. But like Lansing, Grand Rapids. I'm actually surprised that the northwest is red, because it's a very liberal part of the state. The Natural Law Party was the one I didn't recognize. It was Emilio Saltzigic. I don't know. I don't know what that guy does. He's got 444 votes, though. Good for that guy. Good for that guy. Let's go on.
Looking back, one real quick, just looking back at Florida again, because it is such a pivotal state. 94% reporting Trump is up by 2%. So unless the areas yet to be counted are heavily either cities or Hispanic areas, it's looking like Trump's going to take it. So take that how you will.
Matt Dillahunty told me to check my phone. Will do, Matt. I assume he texted me from a number that I didn't have before. I got a call from Texas earlier, and I didn't pick it up because it was on silent, and I'm doing this. Let me look at. I was looking through my questions though. I'm not a fucking economist. Yes, this is Jake. I assume Matt Dillahunty. How many people do you think wrote in Harold Penisman on their ballot? I don't know, but if there are numbers that we could get from that would be fantastic.
I'd like to think it's at least one. And I hope it's the one that ruins the election. I hope it comes down to one vote, and it's that guy.
So will I see you in Canada? If I visit. Do you think Colorado passed the Suicide Act because of this election?
That's funny.
Yeah, probably. I get it. Not my question, but I want you to answer it. Would Charlie Sheen make a better president than Donald Trump?
Yes. He's got that tiger blood. Whatever the fuck he said. Okay,
he's got tiger blood. Hold on. I'm talking to Matt real quick. So talk to these people about election results. Or don't. Just be silent. That's also an option. That
I see what you're saying. Sorry, I thought you were talking about... I misread your signals, and by signals, I mean your clear English. So what's happening in the next 4 minutes? We're going to be here for about 4 more minutes. At 10 o'clock, Iowa, Montana, Nevada, and Utah polls will close, so we'll get some info from there. Nevada is going to be important because I think the polls right before the election showed Clinton up slightly, and that could be key to her victory in a close race. So hopefully she'll take it. Who knows, though? Let's see what's happening with some of the other states. Let's check in and out in Ohio. 54% of the vote is in. Trump is leading by 11%, so he is taking Ohio. That was expected, though, but still, I would have liked it. Whatever. New Hampshire.
I have a request from... Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I have a request from Matt Dillahunty if you would like to go with it. He says that... I guess he's in our comments. I didn't know he was watching. It's been going too fast for me to keep up with. But he texted me, and he said that he has been called an idiot in the comments, but that's not good enough. He would like us to insult him, give a much better insult than just idiot, because he thinks he deserves better in this situation. And frankly, I agree. So would you like to call Matt Dillahunty something?
Is this like a roast? Can I be super mean?
I guess. I don't know. He didn't really give me any parameters. Right. He just kind of do it.
Matt, I am so glad you are in the atheist community because you make me look fuckable by comparison. I'm kidding, but thanks. I love you, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, I love Matt. Matt's good. Matt's good people. He's always fun. Actually, he's one of the reasons I like going to these events every once in a while because I get to catch up, and he's just have a good time. Good guy. Also, R and Raw, fun to be around. A little more intense than Matt is, though. Dillahunty is he's fun as shit. Also, he can play the guitar. He's very talented, and also a magician. Little known facts about Matt Dillahunty, unless you talk to Matt Dillahunty ever. Should we found the Dad Party? I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
A party of people that are dads? Neither of us are that. So, anyways, Nicholas Schoen, again, Jake, would you consider running for president? I'm with Harold. Sure. I'd do fantastic. Imagine me in the debates. That's really what you want. I don't care if I win, but just running, like in the primaries? Fuck yeah. That'd be great. Like, what if the question was like, how do you feel about abortion? My answer would be, I actually would demand more abortions. In fact, if we could do post-birth abortions...
on murder? You mean murder? You can do that.
People, that'd be fun. I'm against the death penalty, Hugo, but I'm pro post-birth abortions.
Washington, D.C. just voted.
Gotta imagine that's Hillary.
No. This is a proposal they had to make Washington, D.C. its own state with its own senators and stuff. They voted yes. I don't know if that'll go through, but they voted yes for it. Trump is at 53 right now to win, which is super depressing.
Hugo's we went down a percentage?
It's going back and forth. We're still, honestly, for what this is, because it's so close, we're still pretty early in the night. I mean, we have at least 4 hours probably left.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 states haven't even been counted yet. Yeah. Which is a hefty percentage.
He's looking like he might take it, especially with him getting Florida. I'm super depressed about it, but there it is.
Sure. I mean, although she's catching up in Florida again.
Barely. She's still down by a whole percent, at least.
But I'm looking at the actual votes. She's down 100,000. She was down 300,000 when you got depressed.
There's only 5% left too. So
well, sure.
I think he's taking it, which is unfortunate.
He probably is. I'm just saying it could be fun there.
Let's check up on some other stuff. Virginia, that was kind of going back and forth. It looks like it's blue again slightly. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, she's up slightly now in Virginia by only 0.2% with 92% reporting. Mm-hmm. So that could be maybe some last-minute urban votes coming in. So that might be good. But yeah, if I'm going to predict this right now, if he is able to take Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, and Virginia, I think he'll win it. And New Hampshire's actually still red right now too, though they have a lower percentage of the vote, I think, right now. So anyway, we've been here for 2 hours. We got a full night ahead. We're gonna, I think, go ahead and let you guys go so you can get with the professional reporters and stuff. No matter who you voted for, I hope you can get up tomorrow and be okay. I hope we're all gonna be okay. I mean, we probably won't be, but I guess I should say I hope we are.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out in 2024, here I am. Just saying, that's when I'm available next. I will definitely maybe pet tigers for everyone, because I'm anti-extinction of tigers, of course. So everyone gets a tiger. And someone asking for my campaign slogan. Okay. Jake Hugo 2016. Hope you like dicks. Because it goes for both the jokes and that we are both dicks.
Well, always go out on a high note, I guess. So until next time, this Friday we're doing our part 2 to Ray Comfort's film. So if you haven't seen the part 1 yet, go check that out. It's very good. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but toot toot. So check that out. And the part 2 will be on Friday, which means we'll have to work on it tomorrow probably, which is going to be super depressing if Trump wins. But we got a whole night to go. Maybe things will turn out for the best. I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be
all right. No one kill themselves. See y'all later in the week.
Bye. Love you.